Hi everybody! For this week's project I want to show you how to make an 8-peg loom and a 12-peg loom out of a mason jar lid. Yesterday when I was making flower designs on my looms, I came up with this flower design and I just knew you all would love it. That is when I thought to myself, I want everybody to be able to make these adorable little flowers if they want to. When I was a little girl, I would have never been able to come up with the money to buy fancy looms. Actually, when I had all 5 of my kids living home with me, I couldn't have squeezed out enough pennies to buy fancy looms either. I would have had to come up with a way to make my own looms out of the stuff I had lying around the house. So that is exactly what I did, and they work. I made this little flower on my 8-peg loom. And I made this little flower on my 12-peg loom. And I also wanted to be sure that they work for making my butterflies. And they do! Here is the butterfly that I made on my loom. I am so happy that I came up with this idea so everyone has a chance to make flowers and butterflies with me. Here is what I used to make my looms.
Garden shears, pencils, mason jar lid, duct tape, cardboard, scissors, glue gun, sandpaper, file or knife, and measuring tape.
If you do not have all the materials that I use to make your looms exactly like mine, that's okay. Use your imagination to come up with things that you do have that might work for your looms. It is a lot of fun to experiment with your own ideas too.
Let's start off by making the 8-peg loom. This is what the loom looks like. We will be using the small mouth mason jar lids to make our looms. As you can see, the lid is the perfect size for making our flower loom. First, cut a piece of cardboard off of a box. We will be lining the inside of our lid with a strip of cardboard. Measure the width of the strip by using the lid as a guide. Use a pencil to make your mark and then cut your strip. Put some hot glue along the inside rim of the lid like this, and then press your cardboard strip into the glue. We will give our lid 3 layers of cardboard, like I show you in this picture. So keep gluing strips of cardboard on top of each other until you have 3 layers. We will be using pencils for our pegs, so we will need to cut our pencils into pieces that are all the same length. Each pencil piece or peg should be cut into 2-inch pieces. You will need 8 of them. Use your measuring tape to measure the first peg by holding your finger at the 2-inch mark. Then use garden shears to cut the pencil. Now use your first cut peg to measure the rest of your pegs. I got 3 pegs out of each pencil. The edge of your pegs will probably have rough edges, so we will use a small piece of sandpaper to smooth out the edges. Sand it lightly until it is smooth. I used my purple flower loom to mark where each of the pegs should go. Then I measured between the lines. Each peg will be 3/4 inches apart. Use your measuring tape to make pencil marks all the way around the inside of your loom like this. Once your marks are made, use hot glue to glue each of your pegs onto your loom. Be sure to make your pegs straight. Take your duct tape and put it around the top edge of the loom like this. Now use your scissors and cut a line between each peg in the middle, from the bottom of the tape to the bottom of the loom, all the way around. After they are all cut, take each tab of the tape and push it down around the edge of the loom and press the tape around each peg carefully. Be sure to push it into the crevices. Use another piece of tape and line it up along the bottom of the loom all the way around like this. This time we will cut a line from the top of the tape to the top of the loom on each side of the peg. I push the tab in front of the peg out of the way and then push the tab between the pegs down. Next, cut the other tabs at the bottom of each peg. Then push the tape down to the front of the peg like this. Do all of them like that. We will use one more piece of tape around the loom. We will place the tape in the middle of the outside of the loom like this. Then push the tape on top of the tab pieces, up on the top and the bottom. This will help to make sure that the tabs are held in place. I love using my side peg, so I made a side peg out of a tiny pencil piece. I glued it onto the bottom like this, and then used a piece of tape with a notch cut out of it to be sure the peg stayed in place. Now my small loom is done. Let's make our 12 peg loom. This is the 12 peg loom that I usually use.
You will see me use my 12 peg loom a lot for all kinds of little projects, so this homemade loom will come in quite handy if you don't have one already. Here are some projects that I have made on my 12 peg loom.
A loom knit snowman, a Minecraft block, snowflakes, pumpkins, hot chocolate mugs, and an Olaf doll. Flowers and butterflies are what I have planned for my next videos. Be sure you are subscribed so you don't miss anything. We will be using the same size small mouth mason jar lid for this loom too. Cut a strip of cardboard the same way as you did for the 8 peg loom. This time we will be gluing this strip of cardboard to the outside of the lid. We will make this cardboard strip only 1 layer thick this time. I marked and measured the distance between each peg, and they are exactly 3/4 inches apart. So use your measuring tape to measure your lines 3/4 inches apart like I did. Cut and sand 12 pegs. Then glue each peg onto the lines. Then use the duct tape to hold everything into place like we did the first loom. Don't forget your side peg.
After I finished making my new looms, I tested them out to see if I could make any improvements to their original design. The best improvement that I came up with was to put a little notch on each of the pegs to keep my work from sliding off so easily. And it works perfectly. You could use a file like I have here to make your notches, or you could use a knife. If you are not old enough to use a knife, please ask your parents for help. I do not want you to get hurt.
The file that I use has one side that is rounded and one side that is flat. It makes the perfect notch for each peg. Simply file a small notch like this. A knife will make a notch too, but the file did a much better job, and it was far safer too.
I hope this tutorial will help you if you need a small loom and would enjoy making some of the small projects that I come up with on my looms. I don't want anyone to feel left out. I love it when you craft with me. Please leave any comments and ideas down below. I'd love to hear from you if you change this project any to make it work for you. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye!
What you doing, fixing it up? Got your water bottle on there?
Not really.
Oh. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Go for a bike ride. You got a dirty lens. Dustin's coming. Yay! Having fun?
Yes, yeah.
Hi, Dylan. Here we go. Alright, you damn this. One of my favorite things to do. Ride my bike. Have fun. Woo! Going down the hill. Now I gotta go back up that hill. Here we go. Yes, that was a hill. Look, you can see our house from here. It's all the way up there on the hill. See it?